Welcome to the Inclusion Sofa. So, the Inclusion Sofa is a virtual space where Nedbankers can have honest conversations about diversity, inclusion, and belonging. The space is underpinned by Nedbank's value of different being good and ongoing efforts to make our organization an inclusive workplace for everyone. It's also important for us to have this space of work where we all can have the sense of inclusion and belonging. With DEI being a key pillar of Nedbank's People Promise, the Inclusion Sofa is a virtual space that serves as an action for us to continually strive to create a culture of inclusion and belonging through celebrating diversity and treating each colleague with care, respect, and integrity. So I am sitting with three beautiful people, and I think I'll just go around the room just asking for introductions, who we are, and what we do at Nedbank, and then maybe a little fun fact if they see fit. I think I'll go. I am Craig Barnes. I'm an analyst within the group finance space, and fun fact about me, I can speak a bit of Xhosa. So Tandwe, if you want to go.
Yes, so my name is Tandwe Vlakosi, and I'm part of the Sustainable Finance Solutions team here at Nedbank. My pronouns are she, her, and they. And a fun fact about me is that I've been trying to be a DJ for the past couple of years. I made a couple of mixes, but I've never played live before.
Nice.
Cool. I'm Ashley Dinan. I'm part of the NCIB graduate program, and I enjoy live music, so I go to a lot of festivals and concerts.
Nice.
Right, I'm Tobani Mshongo. I'm a senior associate within the Africa Infrastructure Finance team. Fun fact about me is I am a pseudo content creator, so catch me on TikTok. Yeah.
Fabulous. So look, I think today is all about us having conversations about pride at work, inclusivity. I think we've had a huge year of success, to be very honest with you. So there's about 4 or 5 questions that we can all go through, and let's keep it conversational. We're really wanting to get to some of the things in the heart, get that out. And first question would be around, why are pride at work conversations important? So in terms of pride at work, we have quite a few corporates that are involved with, inclusivity, diversity, and inclusion conversations like these. But if I can literally just jump into the importance of it, for me, I think it shows that Nedbank is taking diversity and inclusion seriously. We know, we're not just walking the talk. It's not just something that's sitting on paper. It's important from a workforce inclusivity perspective that, these pride at work conversations are happening, and, that we're putting our money where our mouths are. So I don't know, Tandwe, if you want to go, why are conversations like these important?
Craig, for me personally, it's creating that feeling of belonging, right? It's no longer, so it's not just a tick box exercise. That feeling is very important. And you can actually feel it when your surrounding areas in the office where people are accepting and, so for me, it's important that it's a continuous conversation so that we are constantly visible.
Yep.
And just constantly creating that feeling. That
Absolutely.
Feeling is so important.
Yeah. I think Mike Brown calls it the texture. So our CEO, if you were to tune into any of our CE stand-ups, it's that texture, it's that feeling, like you mentioned, when we walk in, that sense of belonging. Somewhat of a deep question, maybe Tobani, I'll come to you. What does belonging mean to you personally?
I think, thanks, Craig. For me, belonging is a very vast and a very open type of sort of like concept. But belonging, I think, also just goes back to what Tandwe mentioned around the feeling when you actually walk into spaces. It's a feeling of acceptance, and it's a feeling of So for me, like, it's almost like I'm encapsulated between or around two things where, I am seen and I am heard. I think more often than not, as queer people, we sometimes obviously have to show up with our wall very high up. But, when you actually get to a space where people are just like, hey, no, don't worry. Just, let your guard down.
We see you.
Yeah.
We hear
Oh,
you.
yes.
So that for me is a sense of belonging where you're actually not treated as you that queer person on the floor.
Yes.
But you are a person on the floor. So that for me is a very big sense of belonging that actually.
I'd like to come back to that sense of something to do with microaggressions a little bit later. Just around, we see the gay guy. Oh, is that person trans? That type of thing. Something very aware for people to be. It's those microaggressions, but we'll come to that a little bit later. Something that you mentioned also, that you feel seen and heard. I think it's a nice segue into our topic of visibility. So when we speak the theme of pride at work, it speaks about visibility of the LGBTQI plus community, our colleagues within the workplace. So in this context, Ashley, I think I'll come to you. What does it mean for you to be visible as a queer person within the Nedbank space, or just within corporate in general?
Well, for me, visibility and at work is about being myself and, like Mbadi said, being seen and being heard. I wouldn't want to work in an environment where I have to put up a persona every day just to get by. I want to be comfortable being me and expressing who I am and feeling like people accept me and include me. Yeah.
Absolutely. I always get a sense that Ashley is just her authentic self all the time, and it really just creates a little bit of calmness and relaxation within a setting. You don't have to be something that you're not around Ashley. Maybe same question to you, Tony, in terms of visibility. What does it mean for you?
I guess for me, it's similar to what Ashley said. It's, like being able to show up every day as my authentic self, I guess the visibility for me allows me to, when you're walking on campus, and let's just say you walk into a bathroom that's just marked ladies only, the visibility allows maybe somebody that I bump into that I've never seen before to be like, okay, this, we have an LGBTI community, and you can walk into a female bathroom as opposed to getting death stares and being told that you've walked into the wrong bathroom, So those are some of my personal experiences. So it's important that we are seen, most importantly.
Absolutely. And I think it touches quite nicely, I don't know if it was Keaton on our forum, that speaks a lot about being psychologically safe. And I think that is just, a trending topic at the moment in terms of corporate SA, just in the global arena at the moment. It's when I walk into a space physically, Am I feeling safe? Am I feeling psychologically safe? And I hope our viewers are sitting there with a notebook, because these are such things to be aware of. It's that microaggressions. It's steering, when someone doesn't look like you, you tend to stare and be like, oh, I wonder what they are about, Anyway, on the point of visibility and to help empower our communities, allies in the workplace, what are some of the microaggressions that people should be aware of? Dubani, I think I'll come to you. We touched a little bit about it, and I think we can get really practical there. I think there's quite a few things that people aren't aware of on the other side of the table. What are some things that we can be aware of?
Absolutely. So I think there's quite a few, right? And sometimes, I think when these things actually happen is that, like, more often than not, they come from a relatively good place from the person on the other side, right? So I think for me, as like a gay guy, meeting someone relatively new, I don't know you from a bar of soap, and then like next thing I'm hearing, oh, show me. I'm just like, how about that? We're not friends. So, and granted, right, it comes from a good place. It comes from, being friendly and all of that. So I think those are just like certain things where, or like even when you're actually describing your friend, you're like, oh yeah, no, my gay friend. No, it's not your gay friend. It's your friend.
Yeah.
You know, so there are just like certain things that, you know, I think obviously for certain people it doesn't even register, but you know, for the person on the other side, it was like, okay, maybe let's not do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something that I've experienced a lot of times is, and I love that Tandiwe put her pronouns out there. It's that these are my pronouns. This is how I'd like to be addressed. And, you know, let's create space for that. Let's, you know, respect each other in that sense. Many times I kind of feel like if we have people getting too comfortable with me, there's the, ooh, girl, and the, ooh, and I, those aren't my pronouns, you know? And it is so, it comes from a place of, you know, misinformedness or potential ignorance, I guess. But if we can just, you know, put it out there that, hey, those aren't my pronouns, let's just get to a space where we can first respect each other a little bit in that sense, especially in the workplace. Ashley, I don't know if you maybe have some examples of microaggressions to share with us.
So the pronouns thing, when you brought it up, there's a lot of times when people have different pronouns and people just don't acknowledge it. Yeah. They just, they misuse their pronouns. Yeah. And sometimes it happens, like it takes a while to get used to if it's a new thing. Yeah. No, I feel like it's different when it's someone you've known for a while and they change the pronouns. That takes getting used to sometimes. But then you get people that intentionally do it. And I'm just like, guys, it's not, especially on emails. That's what bothers me the most. Because if it's on the email, it's there.
Yeah,
you can see a person's pronouns. Yeah. So then I don't understand. Yeah.
Something that, I mean, I don't want to brag. I think as a forum, we were able to pull that off where we would engage with our group compliance guys and, you know, policy updates. Even our NEL's office were involved in that, was where we could add our preferred pronouns on our Nedbank email signatures, which I think is just a powerful segue into if I have potentially a unisex name, for instance, you know, these are my pronouns. I think when we speak, if I like to be addressed as they, them, absolutely. Get it right. I'm giving you an opportunity to get it right, you know? Tandiwe, if you want.
I guess for me, because I'm client-facing and I wear suits, so I don't have a very... I have an androgynous look, so...
Which I love, by the way.
Right.
You know, you walk in and then you get addressed by a client as a he, you know, so sometimes that, you know, when you send out that email and your pronouns are already on your signature, then they are aware that when you go see them that this is...
this is what you can expect.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah. So maybe like just coming back on that androgynous sort of like persona, or sort of like no, actually
expression.
Like persona is not a expression, right? Is that I think also that there's still a lot of conversations that actually still need to be had, right? As like as far as, you know, how do you actually show up authentically as yourself, right? I think there are sort of like I guess like looks that obviously, you know, people have become accustomed to, and they are almost like you know, like people are like don't really bat an eyelid on. But you know, if for instance I decide to come to work in, I don't know, heels, for instance, you know, it's going to be like, oh my goodness, wait,
did he really go there?
Right? Did he like you know, like we get it, you're queer, but okay, like you know, was that really necessary, right? So I think the also those uncomfortable sort of like conversations also need to be had, because there are certain things that I guess like people in the workplace are almost like comfortable with, or sort of like have actually embraced, and then there are also just like certain things which are seen as pushing the envelope, which for me is like almost like it limits on, okay, fine, you know, shop authentically, but you know, maybe don't do that to a point, you know.
Wow, that is absolutely powerful. I absolutely believe that we should be pushing that narrative. And, you know, if I'm wearing earrings or whatever, you know, if I want to come to the office in heels, absolutely, or whatever the case is, I think, you know, if people are feeling uncomfortable, we really need to pose those questions to ourselves, as in, I wonder why someone else's expression makes me feel some type of way. It is an indication of some deep-rooted bias, which we should absolutely address, especially in today's day and age. So maybe on to a little bit of success stories. We've touched a little bit on policy, but Nedbank has made quite significant strides in creating a more inclusive space for the LGBTQI plus community in the workplace. Just the other day, I was talking to my partner, and he was like, you know, if you actually had to Google Nedbank LGBTQI plus support and inclusivity, there's a lot that comes up on Google. You know? So I am particularly proud of quite a few things that we have done as a forum. I think many of us here have been involved in many initiatives. So maybe we'll go around the room. What are some successes that you are proud of?
I guess for me, for the year would be raising the flag. I think being able to, you know, stick an LGBTIQ flag right next to a massive like Nedbank sign on a very busy road for me is like, for me I think that's been some really, for me that was great.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
great.
I hear you. You, Ashley?
So I wasn't part of this initiative, but I absolutely love the pronouns and the email signatures and the gender neutral bathrooms. I just feel like it is a big step in inclusivity, and I don't think people realize outside of the community how much that actually means to people. It's like, it's really cool.
A lot of people don't think physical spaces form part of your DEI initiatives, which absolutely should. I think if any of the corporates or anybody watching is that if you are part of a network or a company or an organization, add physical spaces. How inclusive are your physical spaces? Just the other day, I was watching the movie Hidden Figures, and Taraji P. Henson had to run all the way to the other side. Yes! And there's this stunning music playing, you know, that's really riling you up, because it's like, the physical spaces did not allow women of color who are scientists who did not, you know, feel physically inclusive in the workspace. I don't know if there's anything else that you are personally proud of.
I mean, I think like firstly, I just like would like to say that like, you know, the monologue that Taraji P. Henson actually gives is so honestly one of the best monologues. So but like I digress. I think for me, it's basically how intentional Nedbank has been around DEI and the buy-in and the advocacy from the top, actually. You know, I think like Anel has very much, you know, Anel, Mike, and everybody have actually very much, you know, pushed and actually sort of like advocated for continuous conversations around DEI. And that for me is creates a platform for people to be aware of certain things, for people to actually be mindful of certain things, for people to be knowledgeable, you know, about the sort of like marginalized communities that we actually exist around, you know, let it be women of color or just women in general, you know, climbing up the ladder, let it be the LGBTQI plus community, let it be, you know, people living with disabilities, you know. So I think it really, really pushes that agenda, all those conversations that are absolutely way overdue, and we should be having them on a continuous basis, and it should honestly not be uncomfortable conversation for people to actually sit and participate in.
So powerful, absolutely powerful. So maybe just to wrap up, we can, if anybody really wants to share a message around, you know, Happy Pride, October is, whether it be Africa Pride or South Africa Pride, it is very important for us to celebrate our differences. If we are to look at any of the Pride parades that are happening in and around Joburg or any of the big cities, I think it is also important for us to recognize that there were people that couldn't get to the place that we are in, that we can literally have conversations like these. And we forget that Pride is important for us to, you know, commemorate and celebrate our differences, but more importantly also just remember those who have been lost to hate crimes and things like that. So personally, I think I'll just start with a little bit of a message. I think it is important for, firstly, our corporates to start somewhere. You know, if you are not saying anything, whether it be during June International Pride or October Pride, start somewhere. I think it is so important that when you say something, that there's somebody out there in your office saying, oh, I'm so glad my CEO sent out that message of diversity and inclusion, you know. And then for people who are sitting on the other end of those, you know, hate messages and hate crimes, I think now is the time for you to be unapologetic about who you are. Go and attend these pride parades, because you won't get looks for who you are at these, you know, marches and these parades. So absolutely, there is a place for you, and we welcome that, especially at Nedbank, where we say different is good. Any other messages of support and celebration?
Yeah, for me, my message goes out to the allies. It's important that you continuously be courageous in creative, inclusive spaces.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful, powerful.
Well, I just want to encourage everyone to continue having the conversations. This is how we improve and also commemorate.
Thank
you. Like everything that's happened, we've mentioned that the people that came a long way before that couldn't be in the space that we're in. I think it's easy to forget that the community has made so much progress. I think people, when they think of the LGBT community now in South Africa, it's like, okay, we're in quite a good space, but it took a lot of work to get here. And that's what Pride's about, acknowledging that and thanking those and going forward.
So I think firstly, I just like to caveat going back to the conversation that I had, and is that I actually have come to work in Hills.
Stunning! Wow! Please tell me next time. I'd love to join you.
Like I think I was honestly like nervous and as I
people
walked through.
steering?
It wasn't necessarily like a stare off like uncomfortableness, but it was just like, oh damn, you look good.
Oh wow!
You know, like go to the office and like no one was sort of like batting an eyelid. So I think just like just going back on that, and for me like it was actually just like how progressive we actually have come as sort of like a corporate. But I think for me, the message actually goes out to queer people in almost like township and rural areas. Because I think Pride, more often than not, has actually become this suburbia thing. Where, I think like Soweto Pride actually took place, I think about a couple of weeks ago or something like that. And, it's not something that is obviously widely spread or widely communicated or widely publicized. But there's a lot of important work that people in those communities actually do in sort of like pushing the agenda and pushing the envelope and getting the people in those areas that, aren't necessarily familiar with the pronouns and this and that. So for me, it's keep on pushing on, and it's like the work, we see you, we hear you, and the work that you do is very, very important, and we get to enjoy the privileges that we enjoy from suburbia, and it's actually because of people in those spaces that have actually started the movement and have actually pushed the party on. So, yeah.
Wow, absolutely powerful. I am personally very moved by the conversations that we were having today. I think, for me, it really just felt like there were no cameras, there's no audience. It's really just four people with good intentions coming together for the better. So that is us, beautiful people. I think just from a Nedbank perspective, I'm quite excited, quite happy that we could pull this off. There's quite a bit happening behind the scenes, people that have been working hard at, putting this together, and I'm just completely grateful for them. That is us. I think lots and lots of love and light to everybody. Hopefully we can do this soon again, crossing fingers. And from a Nedbank perspective, I guess see money differently and be a force for good.